Yep.
All right. Toodles, bitches. There it is, Matthew. Welcome back to Unscripted with Jed Snyder, that guy right there.
What's going on?
Just a happy Tuesday morning, man.
Yeah, it is that.
Went home yesterday to eat some lunch, ended up taking a nap. So good day for Monday.
Well, let's put it in perspective too. So, and everybody knows we do the playoff. Like around this time, we put together the playoff videos and that sort of thing, right?
Yep.
And we were supposed to meet yesterday for it, which is hilarious because it's just like, dude, I took a fucking nap. It's like, I get it. Fuck it. We'll figure it out tomorrow.
I'm not going to hide it, man. I fucked up.
I mean, there's bigger things to do than the playoff video talk, but fuck it, it's still hilarious.
I mean, at this point, there's no point in hiding it. But, okay, so today, motivation. We're talking about discipline, motivation, and discipline beats motivation. And hopefully you come away from this knowing that systems are your friend, and that motivation really isn't all it's cracked up to be, right?
Motivation gets the ball rolling.
It does.
That's all it is. Motivation
is the gas, but not the engine.
100%. That's a great analogy. And the funny thing is like, Bradley and I touched on it when I was with him, by the way, and that's going to drop on the 15th, I believe, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Shameless fucking plug on that one.
Love it. March 15th.
9 a.m. Drop time.
9 a.m. Dropping bombs with Jed Snyder. Okay.
We discussed on it too, because at the end the conversation led to, and I'm not that it's a spoiler alert, it's just me talking to some dude, but that was the thing, is that we were talking about discipline, and he believes that everybody inherently has it. It's fine-tuning it or bringing it out of a person. And I agreed with him, and I do agree to a point with that, but I think motivation is what you're born with, and you create the discipline out of motivation. So
that's an awesome place to start, because that's really like my first question about this whole thing is, why is motivation unreliable on its own?
Because it's inconsistent. It gets you up, right? It's like, in my opinion, it's the excitement of something new. Like, I'm going to change my life, right? So, like, I'm going to do it. That gets you up for about a week. And then, or there's a book called Atomic Habits by James Glass, I believe. Great book. He believes it takes 28 days to form a habit, which is basically the discipline taking over. And other books I've read, it usually takes up to about 66 days. So, okay, whatever that gap is, right? Sure. But motivation gets you going to create the discipline. And the discipline then will carry all the way through however long that is, right?
Sure.
And that's the biggest thing, is that discipline actually keeps you moving, where motivation straight up is, I'm going to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
Cool. Motivation got you. Okay, so let's just put it in perspective, right? New Year's resolutions. Everybody fucking loves New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. Cool. January 14th, you're back on what you were doing before. Motivation ran out because you didn't change your fucking daily habits. You didn't change and create the discipline in your life.
And I don't get it, right? Because, I definitely want to lose the 20 pounds, right? Like, I don't understand what happened. But the process is actually built through discipline. But my biggest question is, how do you build discipline?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. So when I was making the transition, and I knew that once I had retired from diving, and I was coaching, and I got into working at the power plant for a little bit, when I went back to work, I knew I wanted to do something, and I knew that like my pull and my goal was when I started my finance company. I knew that I had discipline for certain things, but I didn't have the mental fortitude for others. So, I found there's a First Form supplements that Nitro Alpha sells. The owner of that's called one of the partner or whatever CEO is Andy Frisella. He started the company, and he put out a thing called 75 Hard, and it's 5 things that you do every day for 75 days. And it was one of those things to where like you go through the process, and after 75 days, you have changed. Like you legitimately have. Like you're willing to do work, you're willing to do the hard shit, you're willing to do it. The problem is you get 70 days into it, falter on 1, you go back to 0. So you have to complete the whole process. And obviously there's a bunch of different ways to develop. This is how I personally did it.
Sure.
And like one of the things was no drinking. So it was like, oh, this is going to fucking suck. Because all the other stuff I was doing already, right? Like, and it has other shit like cold showers and stuff like that, just to, because you got to shock and change your nervous system, because our habits and our behavior is all stored in our nervous system, which is that little inner voice that feels like it's always protecting you.
Sure.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Watch out for this, right? And that thing's a fucking line of shit. You got to learn to ignore that motherfucker. So like it does this. And it was funny because it was like when I started to do it, right then fucking COVID hit. And I was like, fuck yeah, like fuck, I can just sit in my house now. Like if there's a fucking silver lining of that fucking piece of shit thing that went on, like fucking, it's literally the fact that I was able to complete 75 hard because I never left my fucking house. Well, I did. I was deemed essential employee because I was at a power plant.
Gotcha.
But like as far as anything else goes, like if fucking, I had a gym in my house. So like I was just able just to roll with it. So at that point, once you complete a process or whatever that is, whether it's 75 hard or something, you need to find something. It actually you'll come out of it with that discipline set in place, because motivation will run the fuck out at about day 3 with that piece of shit.
Sure.
You know, so once the discipline is set, you can find that you really don't revert back. You know, it's set, it's moving, and you're moving forward with it.
For sure. So discipline kind of sounds like you put a system in place, right? But
it's
inside
your own personal
of discipline,
process.
Right. So inside that process has to come accountability, right?
100%.
How much is accountability a part of discipline? Or is discipline just another word for accountability? You know what I mean? Like, talk to me about that. Unpack that for me.
Accountability is knowing that and accepting that you fuck up something or you don't do something. Discipline is what keeps you going every day to do it. You know, you have to have personal accountability, because if you're trying to create discipline and you fuck up along your path, you have to be able to accept the fact that you personally made that choice to fuck up. And you got to start over now based on whatever that program is or whatever the penalty is for that. You know, like you can't continue discipline, or like say, we'll just use the 75. We'll just keep using that for the example for this conversation. But like the accountability is if you don't do one of the things in there, you have to reset. You can't continue on. So it forces you to be accountable for the process that you're taking, right? So like one of the things in there outside of the no alcohol, which is lame, but it makes sense. It needs to happen for the process. But so like for me, the first time I started 75 hard, I made it like 28 days. And I think there was a barbecue over at Greener's, and yeah, I just fell. I mean, I fell off the wagon down the mountain. I got fucking buckled, and it was one of those where like the accountability was, it was easy for me to pick up the next day and continue on.
Sure.
But the accountability that I accepted this process, I'm going to complete this process. I started back at 0, and then that's when I was able to make the run, and so I think that. You have to have a personal accountability as a human in what you're doing in order to establish the discipline that's needed to move forward in your life.
So it's pretty much the difference between trying and actually executing.
It's not shifting blame for you fucking it up, right?
Sure.
If you're trying to create discipline in your life, like a lot of people will be like, it's just this. It's like, no, motherfucker, that's not how this works. You know, it's not just this. You fucked up. Accept the fact that, take responsibility that you fucked up. Take accountability. Start the process over, because all you're doing is cheating the system. You're not getting the benefit of what you're trying to do out of it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Kind of.
And then it's a false feedback loop at that point, right? Like, well, I'm doing it.
Well, then what's going to stop you? Yeah, what's going to stop you 30 days later
100%.
from missing a meal? Right. You know what I mean? And like, well, it's just one meal. Well, it was just one fucking beer. That's not the fucking point.
Right.
The point is to do it. And even if you can't get it done in that day, find time to do it. You know, he made a great example about it, and this one resonated with me, was that, you know, he had like, you have to do like, I think it's like 1 45-minute workout outside, no matter the weather. No matter the fucking weather. I mean, this thing sucks. Like you come out of it transformed. I will really give that. The 75 hard program, you will come out of it transformed, but it does suck. So like at the end of the day, it was like, it was like you have to do 1, no alcohol, 1 cold showers in the morning minimum. You have to build up to like 5 minutes. Right.
Oh.
have a diet plan to follow, 1 45-minute workout outside, no matter the weather, 1 45-minute workout inside. And like any one of those, you have to start over, right? And he had to fucking get something done. I don't remember, but he had to do it. And he knew he wasn't going to get it done in that day. So at 3 a.m, he wheels his Echo bike out in his driveway, and he lives, I believe, in St. Louis, or just outside of St. Louis. And fucking, it's snowing and shit, and he's out there, and his wife posted on Instagram. She took a video of him, posted his ass on Instagram out there doing it. And it's like, that's the accountability portion. Like, you are holding yourself accountable to create the discipline within yourself.
That's awesome. So, you know athletes pretty well. You're an entrepreneur yourself. Where do those two communities fail when it comes to discipline and motivation?
Like I said, motivation's easy. Everyone has motivation, right? It's a discipline to keep following your vision. What do you want? You know what I mean? Like, I believe personally that you need to identify your end goal, whatever that is. You know, what is your intent? Like, where are you going with this? You know, where do you want to go with this? If you put it in athlete terms, you know, where do you want to go? Because you're not going to create discipline in what you're trying to do if you don't have a vision on where you want to go. Otherwise, you're just going to it's going to look like a fucking dotted line of little blips of motivation. You know, instead of creating one solid line, the motivation gets it going like a sprinter. And then once you create the discipline within yourself, then it takes off like the distance runner. And if you don't have an intent or a vision on where you want to go, you're never going to create the discipline that's needed to get there. You're always just going to fucking have little blips of motivation that make you feel better about yourself, so then you can revert back and nothing ever fucking gets done.
That's huge. Yeah, that works in the business realm and as athletes too. I can think for myself just as a business owner, you know, those times where I'm kind of meandering. Right? Like I don't have a North Star, you know, but once I find a North Star, things move a hell of a lot better. And it seems like things even move faster once I know where I'm going.
Well, you're engaged.
Right? 100%. So then staying consistent, kind of being part of that process, right? And accountability. Talk to me about consistency and why it's important.
Well, I mean, you have to look at it from a standpoint of building every day, right? In the Atomic Habits, which is a great book, and I suggest people buy it and read it, especially if you kind of don't know where to start. It's a great starting point on changing what you want to do or changing. I wouldn't say changing your life unless you truly want to do that. It can help, but at the end, it's a good guideline to see, like, hey, like a blueprint of if you want to get started somewhere with it. So with the consistency portion of it, that comes with the discipline, because you know you have to figure it out. Like, so motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you moving, but then consistency towards the goal, I think it's kind of like runs kind of hand in hand with it. The consistency is your day-to-day and always improving day-to-day, where your discipline keeps that moving on a day-to-day process. Like, consistency is, okay, my day's planned like this. I've got to get this done. I didn't get it done. It's 11 o'clock at night. The discipline gets you up to finish it for that day, if that makes sense.
100%.
So like for me, like, my sleep schedule is completely fucked, right? But like, if I go to bed and then I wake up at 1 a.m, like, I don't lay in bed. I get up and work. And then I'll go back to bed at like 4, get up at 7 or do whatever. Like, my day consists of, the discipline is getting the job done. Or I'm sorry, the consistency is making sure I get the job done every day of whatever those tasks are. The discipline is making sure no matter what, I get up and do it. Continued movement, no matter what it is, you know, that momentum will create consistency in your behavior. You know, they talk about improvement, right? Creating a level of improvement. Find out. It just and the biggest thing, and all the people that talk about these books of discipline, motivation, habits, all this shit, they all talk about focus on 1% a day. Focus on completing 1% a day. If you can focus on 1% a day, and there's 365 days in a year, how much percentage have you gone up? Don't try and kill it all at once, because that kills motivation. It becomes overwhelming, sweaty palms, all the bullshit. You revert back to like stress, and then fucking you get off your fucking path, whatever the fuck. Focus on little things. It's the little habits every day. I mean, that's why the military says make your bed every day. Make your bed. Because even if your day completely goes to shit, like completely fucking just goes completely haywire, you still accomplished one thing. So you feel better about yourself. And those things help discipline. Those things help consistency. Those things help move the needle forward because you don't break down. You did something.
Right. Do you make your bed every day?
Every day.
Same.
Always have.
Same. I say thank you to myself at night when I do because I'm like, oh.
There's just something about
getting into a clean made bed.
Well, let's just be honest. Motherfucker probably isn't clean, but it gives the appearance of it.
Fair. Fair. It's absolutely, subjective.
You just don't see the crackers.
He's got Cheetos and shit all over the place. This is a fascinating topic, and I know that it's one that, like, I can, I've watched a lot of podcasts and things like that on. I've been reading some books, that kind of thing. The motivation monster and, why motivation. We've already talked why motivation isn't your only key to success. But you said something earlier about your North Star. You're setting your goal and whatever that looks like, whether you're an athlete or an entrepreneur. What happens if somebody doesn't have that North Star? Like they know they want to change something, but they're not sure how to discover that one solid goal. What advice can you give to somebody that might be a little stuck in their own head?
First of all, goals and daily targets are merely completion tasks towards your intent.
Right.
Like, what is your intent? Like, what are you trying to do? Maybe it's as simple as losing 50 pounds. That's your intent. Okay, so now the reverse engineer, what are my goals to get there? What are my daily tasks to get there? You got to identify your intent. I think where people get stuck, and I was a victim of it as well, one, you think too fucking small. And two, the intent or whatever it is, don't worry about it. Start moving because your intent may change. It may evolve, but you'll never know until you start moving towards a direction of whatever you want to do.
Right.
And I think that's where people get stuck, is that they get halfway into it, it's fucking hard, and they quit. I mean, that's just what they do. I mean, it's just a fucking fact. And so I think with that being said, like, what's your intent? Like, what do you want to do? Like I'm destined for greatness. Okay, cool. How? I don't know. Like, well, I don't know. I just am. Okay, well, what are you doing? I'm working at the coffee shop. Cool.
Okay.
I truly believe you are. Every person in this planet has the ability to be great at something.
1,000%.
Like, you're just making a conscious choice not to. I mean, really, at the end of the day, but people don't want to hear that. They want to hear that they're being suppressed or whatever the fuck, which is completely fucking bullshit. You're a byproduct of what you've created for yourself.
100%.
So with that being said, look at your intent. Look at what it is. Well, okay, I'm in the, fucking widget building business, right? I can build a better widget. Okay. Well, how? Well, this is what I'm going to do. And then you start doing that, working towards it. Now, you may get halfway through this and realize the widgets you're looking at building are a superior product, but you may find out that, like, you actually enjoy manufacturing the parts for the widget and you go that direction. You're still there. Your intent is still to solve people's problems. But at the end, you've just veered off. But the process is still the same no matter where you're going. You just need an intent to start the process. And that's we talked about the hockey stuff and we talked about the training and all that shit. It's the same fucking thing. What's your intent? Where do you want to go? Okay, now let's work backwards. And I think that's where people is they just think that they got to get doing something, which they do. You have to move. You have to act, because fear will make you freeze, and that's that little fucking parasite voice in your head telling you to shut the fuck up, keep you safe, and all this bullshit that you have to learn to fucking ignore. But like at the end, it's like people get going, it gets tough, and they're like, fuck this.
Yep.
And it's like, well, cool. But like you're just like, you might as well have not even tried. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not committed to the process, but then they do it, and then that comes the accountability. They're fucking revert back, and it's always something besides the fact of them just owning the fact that they just fucking quit. So.
Well, and it comes down to the comfortable factor, right? And like you said, that lizard brain, some people call it, right, it's designed to keep you comfortable. It's designed to keep you safe. It's our basic survival guy, right?
But,
like, that's how we evolved into what we are, is because we learned how to be safe about things. But unfortunately, it keeps people comfortable, which means it keeps them stuck. And you said fear, and I've found more times than not that when I'm really scared about something, that's my cue to act.
Oh, big time.
And action kills fear 1,000% of the time.
Big time. 100%.
Yeah. And I know this about myself now. When I'm super scared about something, I know I'm onto it, and I know that if I push through that, on the other side is a pretty sweet reward, right? Like, I got through it, I made myself better, and fuck fear.
Oh, big time.
Right?
Big time. It was funny because, like, when I started my finance company, I got it rolling, and I was doing really, really good. I was still working at the power plant. You talk about this fear thing, and fucking COVID hit, and I went bankrupt. Like, I legitimately, it fucking cleaned me out. I was locked in positions. I couldn't get out because one thing about the stock market is when you have, it's called slippage. It's like when even if you have stops in place, it drops so fucking fast that it just closes whenever the market settles, right? So like when COVID hit, like I was in some leveraged ETFs and they just fucking tanked. So every down tick it moves 3, right? And like it was fucking shit. And I just remember sitting at the power, I was frozen. I couldn't do shit. Like I just had to watch until this fucking thing hit fucking zero basically. And I just remember sitting there and I was like, holy fuck. Like, what the fuck did I just do? And it was funny because I'm sitting there and I'm like, one of the guys that was with me, my buddy Chris Evans, he was like, what's going on? I told him, I'm like, dude, like I just literally lost hundreds of thousands of dollars within like fucking 8 minutes. And like, I have no idea what's going on. So I had margins out. So the margins got called. And when a margin gets called, that means you borrowed against the brokerage house and they fronted it and you owe them money back, right? So I was, So not only did I lose my principal, I fucking lost because leveraged ETFs can go negative. And now I had a margin call. And I'll never forget it. Like I sat there and I was like, if this is what you want to do, you need to act. You need to figure this the fuck out. And it was hilarious because I'm sitting there and you can't talk to anybody about it because everyone's going to tell you you're fucking stupid. Like, why did you do this, you idiot?
Sure.
Why the fuck? And that's no matter if it's a stock market, no matter what business, you're always going to have somebody tell you, ha, told you so, motherfucker. And if anybody knows me well enough, like, go ahead, threaten me with that. Tell me that. Because now it's fucking over. I will figure out a way to make this better. And then you can go fuck yourself. So it was so funny because I didn't know what to do. And I spent a couple of days and we were doing shift work then, 7 days, 7 off. And I took an extra 7 days off. So I had 14 days off because I really needed to figure this out. Like I was fixing to fucking, I was on par with looking at I paid cash for my house. So they couldn't take my fucking house from me. But like I had no idea how this was going to play out. So within like 3 days, I got a line of credit on my home and I reinvested it. I didn't fucking pay my margin off. I got back in. And I had to come to Jesus fucking really serious with me, and I knew my system worked. I had the discipline to create it, and I had the discipline to stay in it, even though when it sucked fucking ass. And within 6 months, I paid all my margins back, paid off my line of credit, and had a pretty good profit towards the end. Yeah. And at that point, and you talk about fucking fear. Oh, fuck, man.
I can't imagine.
And so, and then of course, like at that point, I got it and I used the same discipline. At that point, I sold my house, turned it, invested in my fucking company, got an apartment, quit my job at the power plant. And at that point I was trading full time.
Man.
So yeah, that like you talk about fucking fear, dude. And I was literally like crying. I was throwing up. I had no, like every fucking emotional response in my body was telling me fucking, what are you doing? You're an idiot. Like that little fucking parasitic lizard brain voice cocksucker. I literally told him, go fuck yourself. Like you are not fucking doing this to me. Like I have no choice to win except to win. Like I have no choice. Like I don't know where this is going to go. And so the discipline that I created in that process, I doubled down on myself because I knew my process and my system worked and fucking, yeah.
Dude, that is a hell of a story. Holy shit, man. I had no idea.
That was fucking nuts.
Of all the stories that I've heard, that's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
Because as you're talking about that, like, what that could feel like in terms of just like losing everything, not really having that safety net, not having, and not on top of losing shit, but now you owe stuff on top of the lot, like,
and that
nuts.
And that switch flipped in 2 market days. So in 2 trading days, so 16 hours of the market moving during COVID, like fucking yeah, fucking awful.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So you talk about creating discipline and motivation and stuff, and like all this bullshit, like we're talking about, like you have to believe in yourself enough. You have to have the discipline enough. You have to create the discipline in yourself enough to ensure that when things go bad, you fucking rely on yourself. You created that in you, and you need to rely on that.
Absolutely. So having gone through that experience, did that kind of reinforce within you that I've been through some hard shit and I've pulled myself out? I know I can do this thing.
Well,
right?
Well, it made me cocky, to be honest.
Okay.
And so
it made me cocky too.
With cockiness comes failure.
Okay.
So and then you look at the other hardship that came into this. So I was rolling, fucking kicking ass, doing all this shit, and then obviously we bought the big horns.
Okay.
And one thing about that business is you have to have 100% focus in the time that you're working on it, because if you don't, then you're just gambling, right? Like there's 3 levels. There's traders, speculators, and gamblers, right? And in that whole trading realm, right? In that financial realm. Your investors are your long-term holds, like your hedge fund guys, shit like that. You know, the 401ks, all that stuff. You know, that's the investors. The speculators are that have a system in place and they stay on that system every time. Win, lose, or draw, they keep moving, right? They just keep turning. And if your system is validated enough, you will always turn a profit. And then there's the gamblers, where you really don't have anything. It just looks, the whole buy low, sell high. Oh, that looks pretty. That's got a cool name. Or you got a half-assed thing that's never been tested and you just start doing it and whatever, right? And then you get the euphoria of you winning, and it makes you forget the fact that you just lost for 6 fucking months. You know, like you've played Keno, like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And so like, it's kind of the same shit.
Yep.
So, but I consider myself a speculator. So at the end, it's like you have to be involved 100%. Well, we all know once we bought the team, like, man, I was in that building for 2 years, 15 hours a day, 18 hours every fucking day, right? And then when I wasn't, I was just passed out. Like, I was just exhausted. So like, my trading got neglected, but I was still trying to do it. And I was such a cocky asshole that I still thought I could manage it. And it just went, and then once again, had to fucking dump that fucking piece of shit account, lost everything in it, and then had to start over again, you know? So,
overcorrection.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it's like anything else. It depends on, they say like it's, you know, with the stock market, it's 3 times you go bust before you actually start profiting.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that was one of those, and then I was able to rebuild it, but it was, you know, you have to be involved in it. You have to be engaged in it, but to be able to make those leaps and come back, that is the discipline, to have the consistency, to work your process, be engaged in your process, you know, and you can pass it over to whatever you do. But like I said, those times of massive fear, the only thing I could rely on was the discipline I created myself, so I could work my system diligently. And I tried other shit. I was like, fuck, man, I'm gonna get into the commodities market. That was fucking retarded. You know, like everything that I fucking did outside of my system failed because I was gambling. I didn't have a system.
Sure.
And so once I was in my system and I was disciplined to work my system, then you saw the ticks coming back. Then you saw the profits coming in, the revenue being generated, that sort of shit, right? But it was only because I was able to create this discipline within myself. Same thing with training. It's the exact same thing. Like, you create the motivation to be a better athlete, but it's the discipline and consistency that carries you through the process to whatever your intent or your end game is. You know, because not everybody wants to get up in the morning and go to the fucking gym.
Right.
You don't want to. Like, fuck it. But those are the days you double down and you go, because that's when the needle moves. It's not when you're having fun and shit and you're in there rocking it. It's the days that you fucking don't want to do something is when you move the needle. And it creates discipline to get up and move that fucking needle. And go in when it fucking sucks. Go outside when it was fucking 30 below and go for your 45-minute walk outside. You know what I mean? Like that's the shit that actually moves the needle for a human being on a personal level.
Just do it, right?
No,
Like the whole Nike just do it thing, right? Like I'm scared. That's fine. Acknowledge that you're scared, but do it scared, right? Or I'm sick. That's fine. Acknowledge that you're sick, but do it sick.
100%.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever excuse you're coming up with, I found if I just use it as, okay, acknowledge it, name it, right? Like, yeah, I'm not into it today. I'm lazy. Cool. You're lazy, but do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do it lazy, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's one of those things, if you can build that, it's like a muscle.
Yep.
Stronger the muscle gets, the easier that stuff gets
Yep.
too. So this is a hell of a conversation, man. Like, I mean, we could go into goal setting. We can go into all kinds of
100%.
crazy shit, right? But we're going to let this one kind of simmer because there's a lot of great information in here about discipline versus motivation. And my hope is that the listeners and watchers of this podcast come away with that nugget of truth, right? Like building a system towards discipline will beat motivation. Motivation's important for a little bit of it, but you got to have the rest of it
It gets you started.
to get you going.
It gets you started. And that's one thing that people need to, all 20 people that listen to this fucking thing. They have to understand, especially like, and this translate into sports so much. Like you look at professional athletes, they are probably the most hyper-focused, hyper-competitive, hyper-disciplined people to get where they're at. There's Tim Grover, he was the trainer for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow.
He's got a book, and I've got it at home. I just can't remember it. Anyway, it's great on talking about the dedication and discipline that those guys had when they would train and when they would do it. Like Kobe wouldn't leave the gym without shooting, what was it, like 500 fucking three-pointers or 500 balls. There was like something ridiculous. But then like his training methods that he did his whole life was he would train 2 hours a day in the morning, take 2 hours off, 2 hours train, 2 hours off, 2 hours train, 2 hours off. And then a 1 hour train at the end or whatever it would be, like a massage session or whatever to recoup, and then he'd go home. That was his day.
Man.
And like that takes discipline, that takes consistency, that takes dedication, that takes motivation just because he wanted to be the best player in the world. Like that's just straight up what Grover said. Same with Jordan. You know what I mean? And so like when you turn it to that sport aspect and you look at it, like whatever the athlete signs up to do, regardless of what it is, whether it's with Nitro or somebody else, they're going to be a byproduct of the effort they put in. And two, they're going to be a byproduct of that's going to add to that is what they decided to do to better themselves. Because working with the best programs hurt. It fucking hurts.
Yep.
You know, now some athletes are engineered for that, some aren't, and that's okay. You know, but the ones that are engineered for that as athletes, they will accept it, embrace it, and understand that success comes in the pain. You know, they always say everybody knows it. Championships hurt, man. To be the best at something fucking hurts. So you have to decide to make that conscious choice to do that.
Well, you got away with it last week, Jed, and the week before, but this week you're in the hot seat. Ask Jed starts now. And this comes from, you actually talked about him earlier in this podcast, Chris Evans, I believe.
Yeah.
And he says he wants you to talk about the power plant. Maybe you know what that means. I have no fucking clue. But talk to me about your days at the power plant.
So after I retired from offshore and then I coached with Mike, I was like, fuck, I want to go back to work. I want to do something. You know, I need some more revenue. I need revenue coming. I need to do something. So Mike's brother Bob was one of the top guys in the gas department at Colorado Springs Utilities. I got in as a locator guy. You drive around and just sit there and watch some asshole dig around a gas line or whatever. And then this job for this plant systems operator. They're called PSOs. Okay. And every power plant has them, right? They're guys that walk around. It's shift work, which I really like because that's what it was for offshore. I think we did like 3 days on, 3 days off, 5 days on, 5 days off, and then 7 and 7. And it was a rotating schedule or whatever the fuck it was. Sure. And so I get this job. So I go in for this interview, and I have no fucking idea what this interview is going to intake. And so I sit down with these guys, and one of them I'll never forget. He was a nuke plant guy, and he was a submarine nuke guy. So he handled the reactors in submarines,
Jeez.
which is like in the realm of like energy generation, like those guys are legit. Like those guys are like fucking Einstein, and it's unbelievable, right? Like how smart they are. And so they're asking me questions about it, and I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck, cool. And they're like, draw me a fucking power plant, or draw me a steam generating power plant, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So I start drawing this fucking thing, and I put the condenser, and I know that you got to make steam, and the steam turns the turbines and all this shit. And I kind of draw this thing out, and like, you know, they always say like silence is kind of like the strongest, you know, like deterrent for any conversation, right? And I draw this thing out, and I'm sitting there. I remember being all fucking nervous, and I look back, and they're just kind of looking at it like this. So then I start drawing like fireworks and shit, and then I start drawing like fucking explosions and like doing like blam, like cartoon drawings, like turning like this big Batman comic. And I just turn on, like fucking throw down the dry erase marker and turn on, like, there you go. And there was like a panel of 3 of them, and they all fucking went like, well, I got the fucking job. And I got the job. And the reason I got the job was because of my diving, my ability to understand pressurized vessels. Because all turbines and all that it's all run on pressure, right? And there's a bunch to it. But like, so I get this job, and like, I go in and I meet this motley crew of these PSOs, and it's, I mean, just fucking comical, man. Like half of them are just fucking check stealers. The other half are fucking bitter as fuck. You know, some of them are actually, I mean, they're all nice guys in their own way, right? But they're just like fucking straight up city workers, dude. And it's fucking hilarious. And I just remember looking around going, how in the fuck is this place not blown up yet? And it's like, and the funny thing was Drake was one of the last coal plants for Colorado Springs Utilities. And it was right downtown. Like if this thing nuked off, like, fuck, man, okay, you know? And so, like, and I just remember going through this whole thing, and my buddy Chris, who we became really good friends, was like, and he's like this, he's actually a savant with this shit. Like this is what he wants to do. And when I met Chris, and he'll admit it, like he's lazy as fuck. Like, and I just told him, I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you're the smartest guy in this fucking room against all these fuckers. You know, what are you doing? And he started to run with it. And over the next 2 years, he moved up. Now he's running a plant now. So, and he's like fucking 30, 35 years old. Like he's fucking wicked. He's done awesome for himself. The best part was like, all these guys talked about, because the apprenticeship, I think it was like 4 years. And all these guys and all the older apprentices and stuff, like they all bitched about doing their quals and shit. Okay. I think I got 3 years of quals done in 9 months. Like, yeah, like I was, and they couldn't pay me fucking more. So I'm like, why in the fuck am I doing this? Like, you're not going to give me any more fucking money because I quit. I'm like, well, I'm going to stop doing it. So, and it's like I did my rounds and I took fucking naps, you know what I mean? But then I started educating myself on the trading stuff. So it was hilarious because, you know, I'll never forget when I quit, because these guys were like, and it was so fucking funny because I would go in and I told them, I said, November 1, I'm quitting. And this is like in September. And they're like, well, what are you doing? Like they couldn't believe I was leaving the program. And I'm like, well, I'm going to trade full time. That's kind of what I'm going to do. Like, this is where I'm going with this. And they're like, oh. And they're like, well, what about the money? I said, what about the money? And they're like, well, and they're like, some of these guys, Chevins knew it was coming. Like, we're good friends. You know, I mean, he knew it was coming.
Sure.
And I literally looked at this fucking guy, and I'll never forget the look on his face. And he was one of the, kind of the most negative. I mean, he was hilarious, but he was just like, you know, like he just, for some reason, he was just very combative and just, you know, real negative and that sort of shit. And he was the one that was having the hardest time. I finally looked at the dude straight in the eye. I said, I just made my 1 year's salary in 1 month. Why the fuck would I stay here? And he went, I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And he just fucking, and shut up. And at that point, the fucking power plant just completely changed. Like I was obviously now at that point, they're like, oh, who's that guy? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that was my time at the plant. Great guys, a lot of fun. Some interesting fucking characters. But yeah, it was. I always scratch my head on how that place did not blow the fuck up, like completely blow up. I just didn't want to be around it when it did.
No doubt. Man, that's awesome. All right. Well, I'm Brad Oldhouse, your host. That's Matthew back there on the ones and twos doing the editing. And that's Jed Snyder.
All right.
And before we let you go, guys, exciting announcement here. We will be out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts very soon. So an audio-only version is coming. We're going to stay on YouTube as well, so you can still watch it. But we're starting to grow, right?
Yep,
People
absolutely.
like our show, and they're like, I can't always watch it, but I'd love to listen to it. So we want to make sure everybody has a chance to consume this content in the manner in which they prefer.
Yep, and one last thing, the Dropping Bombs stuff will drop March 15th, I believe, at 10 in the morning Mountain Time, give or take. They said it would be subject to change, but as of right now, that's when that's going to drop. So that's pretty exciting stuff too.
Big time. I'm looking forward to that. So March 15th, we'll get together a couple times before then.
Yep.
All right. Toodles.